Waheguਰੂ Ka Khalsa, Waheguਰੂ Ki Fateh. After seeing this morning that SikhNet, that's Gurumustuk and Guru Singh, and all the rest of the staff over there at SikhNet have gone on vacation, I just had to say something this morning and make a video explaining what's really going on over there at SikhNet. First of all, this is just disgraceful that a Sikh website, who is the voice, supposed to be this voice for Sikhs around the world, has gone off to Florida to participate in this Yogi Bhajan tantric yoga for a whole week and not posting anything about the brave Sikhs who are sacrificing, Gurumustuk Singh, who's on hunger strike there in India, and trying to get these Sikh political prisoners released there. SikhNet is just not acknowledging that this is important. Instead, they go off on vacation down to Florida and participate in all this anti-Sikh tantric yoga. So this is just the symptom of what's going on over there at SikhNet. And I want to talk a little bit about today my experience with 3HO and directly my experience with Gurumustuk. I noticed that he's got a video up there now on the SikhNet main page asking for donations and trying to get people to support SikhNet with his story, his so-called story about his life and his experience with SikhNet. Well, this is not the truth that he's telling in this video. I lived with his parents, Govinda and Satkiran, in Los Angeles during the 1980s. The first house was on Pickford Street there, and the second house was on Livonia Street. Now, Gurumustuk doesn't tell the fact that Govinda, his father, left his wife and family and ran off with a yoga student half his age. Now, what was happening in that family, I think, was endemic of the cult that was around Yogi Bhajan. And Gurumustuk fails to talk about this entrenched cult that we all participated in there in 3HO, and 3HOers are still participating in. Fortunately, about 4 or 5 years ago, I started to realize that this was nothing more than a cult, this 3HO, around Yogi Bhajan. So what happened in Gurumustuk's family was really unfortunate that Satkiran was so attached and so infatuated with Yogi Bhajan, as I would say most women in the Yogi Bhajan group were with Yogi Bhajan. They wanted to be around him 24/7, that she didn't really pay attention to her husband, or in my opinion, because like I said, I was living with them. And so he sought another wife elsewhere. So I'm not saying what Govinda did was the right thing to do. It was not particularly good by running off with another woman. But I'm telling you that in that situation, Satkiran was not helping matters by being infatuated with Yogi Bhajan. So then Gurumustuk grew up in this environment of being attached and being in this womb of this cult around Yogi Bhajan. And you'll notice in many of his videos that he's done when he was a young kid, that Yogi Bhajan is just like almost hypnotizing him in some of these videos. You can view them on SikhNet about that, where he shows where he was a young boy there. So Gurumustuk was away in India at this school there that Yogi Bhajan started, and Yogi Bhajan took these young kids, as young as 5 years old, and he sent them over there to India, away from their parents, so that they would be under his influence as far as this his cult goes. Anyway, so Gurumustuk grew up in this entire environment, and if you watch his videos, you'll see that he is almost like a kid. And he's just part of this cult that literally worships Yogi Bhajan. It's very easy to get caught up in a cult-like environment like this. You do away with your self-confidence, your self-respect, and any kind of responsibility that you have as an individual when you bow to a cult leader like this Yogi Bhajan. And you'll see that in this video if you watch that Gurumustuk has put on there on SikhNet. And it's just like a little bit about, like I said, trying to give up your individuality, trying to give up your self-esteem and your self-confidence. So let me show you a few pictures here that may illustrate a little more about what Yogi Bhajan and this cult are about. First of all, I want to point out here how Yogi Bhajan was really beholden to Indira Gandhi. And here's a picture of him. This was back in the 1970s when he was giving Indira Gandhi a gift, and he's bowing slightly to her. And so he was a supporter of Indira Gandhi, who of course butchered thousands of Sikhs back in the 1980s and invaded the Sikhs' holiest shrine there, the Hari Singh or Golden Temple is known by Western Sikhs. So this pervaded throughout 3HO that Yogi Bhajan was a supporter of Indira Gandhi. And so how do the 3HO people worship Yogi Bhajan? Well, this is a picture, or a painting I should say, that hangs in the Darbar of the Sri Guru Granth Sahib at the Hacienda de Guru Ramdas, they call it there, where SikhNet is located right there too. And you can see it's like a tantric cult painting. Yogi Bhajan has got his power energy thing going here, and they literally have this huge painting there and worship him. This painting is not small. It's about 8 feet tall. You can see here where they're bringing Guru Sahib in, Sri Guru Granth Sahib in for Prakash, and they pass by this painting every time that they bring the Sri Guru Granth Sahib in to the Darbar, which is only about once a week on Sundays, by the way. So they have more prestige to Yogi Bhajan. And you can see there close up, that's his painting there, that same painting I showed you the enlargement of. And you can see that they revere this Yogi Bhajan, and this Yogi Bhajan painting looms over the Sri Guru Granth Sahib in the Darbar of the Sri Guru Granth Sahib. This is in Espanola right there where the SikhNet offices are. Now this is another cult-like activity and practice that's against Sikh teachings that the Yogi Bhajan people do. This is an idol, golden idol of Baba Siri Chand, that sits right there at the Gurdwara in Espanola, right at the entrance. And you can see here how the Yogi Bhajan followers, you can see them here with their white turbans on there, sitting around worshiping this idol and chanting there. Now this happens to be at Yogi Bhajan's death place, where they chant and do these mantras in reverence to Yogi Bhajan and this golden idol of Baba Siri Chand, which Yogi Bhajan placed there, by the way. Everything in the Gurdwara and at his death place was placed there specifically by Yogi Bhajan. Let there be no doubt about it. Yogi Bhajan placed these idols around there for the 3HO people to worship and adore after and during his life. Now, the other thing that is particularly disturbing is how the SikhNet and Yogi Bhajan followers continue to revere Yogi Bhajan and do not listen to any criticism about him. This is the biggest objection that I have to what the 3HO people are doing now. And this is why we shouldn't donate to SikhNet, and we should get them to change their whole attitude. I don't know if it's possible because they're so spellbound by Yogi Bhajan. But this shows specifically how and why that they are so attached to Yogi Bhajan, and which particularly disturbing is. This was a lawsuit that was brought a few years back, and part of the settlement agreement that was reached between the parties within the 3HO people that were fighting over these millions of dollars of Yogi Bhajan's enterprises and businesses was that the Yogi Bhajan people and the organizations, including SikhNet, cannot criticize Yogi Bhajan. They are bound by law now. Now you can see here how SikhNet and all these yoga organizations are all tied together. You can see SikhNet right there in this list of the Yogi Bhajan organizations. And so they all signed on to this agreement that they cannot disparage, they call it, a non-disparagement or non-criticism agreement. Here you can see it here, non-disparagement agreement, where the Yogi Bhajan organizations cannot criticize, and this includes SikhNet, cannot criticize Yogi Bhajan or any of his teachings. Now, what is particularly disturbing for Sikhs and people that don't know about SikhNet, they have to teach the Sikh religion as taught by Yogi Bhajan under this agreement. And I'll read here verbatim here. It says, the Sikh religion or the technology of Kundalini Yoga as both were taught by Sri Singh Sahib Bhai Sahib Harbhajan Singh Khalsa Guruji or Yogi Bhajan. Now, all of these entities are bound by this agreement and they cannot follow the Sikh Rahat or the teachings of the Sikh Gurus or the Siddhi Guru Granth Sahib if it contradicts with Yogi Bhajan's teachings. All right? So if there's a conflict between what Yogi Bhajan said and what the Siddhi Guru Granth Sahib said or the Sikh Rahat says, they have to follow Yogi Bhajan. That's the important thing here. So I've given you a little insight into what's really going on over there at SikhNet. And before you donate to them, before you support them, investigate this. Don't take my word for it. There are several good books out there. There was one in particular that was written by Dr. Chalochan Singh back in 1977, who spent months with Yogi Bhajan. And he talks about all of these things, and he'll tell you in depth about his experience with Yogi Bhajan and why we need to get the real word out about what's happening there and about how they should be studying Gurbani and get rid of this cult attachment to Yogi Bhajan. There's also, I wrote a book too, it's Confessions of an American Sikh, and I talk about Dr. Chalochan Singh's book in my book too. So anyway, if you want a free copy of the book, my book, I'd be happy to send you one as well. Dr. Chalochan Singh's book is available for free on my website at gurmukyoga.com as well. Thank you for your time. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.